Hey everybody, this is Travis from Visceral Disgorge.
Hi, this is Cheney Crab from Entheos.
This is Harry Lannon from Cognitive.
Hey, what's up? This is Belen of Ritual Moon.
Hey, this is Danny Rodriguez from Through the Eyes of the Dead, and you're listening to the Great Metal Debate.
Welcome back, Metalheads, to a new episode of the Great Metal Debate Podcast. It's Xander, and I am here with Patrick and Van from the band Nite. Say hello, guys.
Hey. This is Patrick from Nite. What's up?
Can you tell me what are some essential items that you need to bring with you while on tour?
Lots of soda water, a lot of salad greens, and protein powder.
Essential items, guitar tools, phone chargers, and toothbrush. I didn't bring my toothbrush.
So I saw that video you guys posted yesterday on Facebook announcing that you guys got here to Atlanta ahead of schedule, or was that part of the plan for sightseeing?
We had to prep a bunch of stuff for the tour. We had to ship a bunch of merch and get a bunch of merch printed here in Atlanta and figure out our fly-in rig. So it's our first fly-in tour to the East Coast, the eastern half of the U.S. Excuse me, we are not on the coast. But yeah, we need a couple days to just get acclimated to the humidity.
I can't remember, but have you guys played in the city before?
No, this is the first time in Atlanta, and this is the first time, in this region. Like, I don't want to say East Coast because we get a little bit of flack from some people, but for us, this is an East Coast, Eastern U.S. tour. So this is the first time that we are playing in the Eastern U.S.
We tried to call the tour East Coast, and a bunch of friends from the Midwest gave us shit about it. So we're calling it the East Coast-ish tour. And guess what? It's fine. Just we're from California. Everything east of the Mississippi is East Coast to us. So yeah, people can get over it.
It's your first day on tour with Savage Master. Would you say you're more nervous or excited about opening up for them?
We've played with Savage Master in the past. They were on tour with our good friends Haunt, and we played a Bay Area show with them where we actually did play right before them, I believe. And so we've done this before. They're really good friends of ours. We've known them for years, so we're just excited to be here.
Yeah, for sure. We are friends with them for years, and Nick, one of the two guitar players, we played a show with him back in 2018, 2019. When was that?
With Warcloud. Yeah.
So yeah, for me personally, I was always looking forward to go on tour with Nick because I just love his playing so much, and he's an amazing player, and I'm pretty excited. Dude, I work a 9 to 5 lately. I don't have to work, and I get to play guitar every day. This is pretty fucking awesome. So yeah.
Nice. What are your predictions for tonight's show, and how do you think the audience is going to react to your musical style?
That's I don't know. I know that we have a good pre-sale tonight, so this is gonna be exciting. The music we play is kind of exciting. You can't sit around and not do anything when we do that. So I think it's gonna be fun. It's a nice venue.
Yeah, Atlanta's a great town. I've played here in the past with several other bands, and there's always a good crowd at Boggs too. So we're just excited for the show.
This is actually my first time at this venue. I'm usually going to things like Masquerade or Buckhead Theater.
Yeah, for sure.
So speaking of you guys' musical style, what made you guys want to blend sort of like this black and roll vocal style with traditional heavy metal instrumentation?
I'll take this one, I guess. So I've said it before many times. Maybe it gets a little boring, but I was listening to Children of the Night by Tribulation back in 2017, I believe. And to me, that album sounded a lot like Killer's era Maiden with black metal vocals. I love the vocals of Johannes, right? That's his name. Johannes, yeah. He's an amazing singer. Like, he's one of my favorite black metal voice artists. And anyway, I had an idea back then to do kind of like my favorite era of Maiden, which was Somewhere in Time and Power Slave and Serpent Sun, with that kind of vocal. And that's how it all started. I did some demos and then met with Pat and the guys, and that's how we started. Yeah, for me, like, that's kind of what excites me. Heavy metal that is true to the values of heavy metal that got me into it. And I can't really. I mean, first of all, I cannot sing. Second of all, I'm not really that much into the traditional voice with this overly like 80s new wave of British heavy metal kind of guitar work with all these leads and stuff. So I like that contrast between the darkness of the black metal vocals with all that melody from the guitars. I think it's a nice current, like, modern heavy metal approach to it.
Do you want to add anything to that?
Very simply, I would just say that the whole theme of the band has kind of ended up being about contrast, as Van said. So, like, the light and the darkness, the, like, kind of more, black metal vocal style with what's considered more of kind of an 80s heavy metal, like, Guitar Hero kind of style. So, like, those things complement each other, and we love the fact that they're typically different and not always used together in a band. So we feel like we're, offering a unique approach in that regard.
I think the reason why I'm drawn to you guys so much is because I'm a big fan of funeral doom and melodic death metal, and I've always liked the stark contrast of the soothing musical instrumentation with the harsh, cavernous vocals over layered in the studio.
Totally.
I think that's like a real yin and yang kind of thing.
For sure.
So I know that your debut, Darkness, Silence, Mirror, Flame, was released during the height of the pandemic and lockdowns. Do you guys think that the unfortunate event helped to gain a larger following for you guys?
We joke about this all the time because we kind of have an inside joke in the band that we're a pandemic band, since we released our first album literally the week of lockdown when everything closed. And then we recorded our second album, Voices of the Carnian Moon. Nice shirt, by the way.
Thank you.
And it was actually all in isolation. Like, we didn't actually get in the room together to record any of that stuff. So the first two albums were kind of like pandemic, adjacent, and the background theme and everything was the pandemic. So with this third album, Cult of the Serpent Sun, we're just excited that we're actually be able to, like, go out, tour on the record, and not have to be hiding in our homes.
The struggle and overcoming struggle, I think, is a very central idea in our band, and I think it's fitting that we started in a very tough time.
All right, so take me back to before the debut album. How did you guys form, and were you guys in any previous bands before Nite?
So we formed right after I moved to San Francisco from LA, and I had that idea that I said before about forming a band that has late 80s era Maiden with black metal vocals. And I met with Pat and Brian, our founding bass player, and we got this off the ground. Before that, I was playing. The last thing I did before I moved to the US from Europe was I played in Satan's Wrath. We did 3 albums on Metal Blade, and before that, I was in a band called Mencia, and we were playing melodic death metal, progressive death metal, call it whatever you want. So Mencia, and we were on a label from Norway called Indie Recordings. We did 2 albums there, and a few other bands before that, but these are the last 2 projects I did before Nite.
So that's pretty cool that you're a part of Satan's Wrath, because I remember hearing about them like 5-6 years ago, and it's roughly around the same time I got into Nite. So. And
Satan's Wrath is a big reason why Nite exists, because when that band was Taz from Electric Wizard and Mirror and many other bands, he formed that, and he was the one who kind of made me play leads again, because I was playing in Mencia where we didn't have leads. We were only doing melodic death metal, but it wasn't like guitar. So there were no guitar solos anyway. So yeah, playing in that band made me want to play the metal that got me into it in the beginning.
Prior to Nite, I was in a kind of death doom band called Serpents Dawn from San Francisco. I play in a band called Older Sun. It's kind of like 70s rock. I've played with a bunch of other bands as a drummer, like another San Francisco band, Glitter Wizard. I've filled in for Bewitcher on drums on a tour. So yeah, I'm a drummer, so I'm in a million bands, but those are the most relevant ones to our listeners.
They say that drummers are always in like at least 3 or 4 different bands at one time.
At least. I was in 5 at one point, and then I had to rein it in a little bit. So.
But also went to Japan on tour when he was like, I don't know, like 12 or something?
20.
20?
I did, yeah. I got to tour a bunch when I was younger.
Ausrotten.
With Ausrotten from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. If you're old enough to remember the 90s and hardcore crust punk, that was one of the heavy hitters of that genre. And also fucking amazing guys. I love all those dudes so much. They're rad. They're all still in Pittsburgh.
Alrighty. So, what made you guys want to drop the letters G and H in the name?
I was lobbying for that. I'm still lobbying for it. But there's another band from Sweden. Are they?
What's that?
Nite, the Nite band.
Austin. Austin, Texas.
The other Nite, not this one.
Oh, the Swedish band. Yes. Sorry.
You guys are talking about the electronic band?
There's that, but there's also I think there's a Swedish rock band.
Yeah,
called NIGHT.
Who
are great.
Okay.
So the first idea was actually to rename that, but like Nite actually play a very similar metal to us, so we couldn't really do it. So yeah, that's why we made it cooler. I don't know.
Well, my sort of like reasoning behind the name is it's heavy metal. And you just have to spell things wrong. It's just there's an unsaid, unspoken of rule that if you have a metal band name, spell it wrong. It's cooler.
Yeah, if something starts with a C, spell it with a K.
Exactly.
Kind of like Cataclysm. That's a perfect example. You
know what? As long as you can't pronounce it and you can't read the logo, it's great.
The more non-legible the band logo is, the better, the heavier the band is going to be.
That's true.
And so we started talking about that electronic band called Nite. I was going to ask how many times you guys been confused with that band, but I guess there's a number of different bands that spell their names Nite.
There's many bands that are Nite.
Yeah, because I was just on Amazon Music trying to find you guys' albums, and there's like a whole bunch of different albums. Like, wait, none of these are from the band I'm trying to listen to here. You had to do a lot of side scrolling to get to Cult of the Serpent Sun.
That's all right. As long as it's in there.
Yeah. Now, let's skip ahead to the present while we're on the topic of Cult of the Serpent Sun. Aside from my glowing review, has the responses been mostly positive?
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, we've gotten nothing but great reviews for the record. We reviewed in Decibel a few months back. Which we got the standard good review of 8 out of 10, which we will happily take. And I think the really nice thing about the response to this album is that people seem to really get it. You know, like there's been some sort of like, I guess, discussion in the past as to whether people are sort of understanding the intention behind what we're doing or getting the kind of like aesthetic or the mood or the vibe of the band. And I feel like with this album, it's been really nice to go into interviews or read reviews and people just almost like say verbatim what we were thinking when we made the music. You know, it's like it feels like it's very much translating directly to the listener, which is awesome. Like that's all you can ask for as a band, you know?
Yeah. One of the first reviews that I ever saw, like whenever I first got into you guys, it was actually on the Bandcamp page for the Darkness, Silence, Fear, Flame album. Mm-hmm. And someone had said, I'll never forget it, someone had said, this sounds like someone spilled black metal all over my Iron Maiden collection.
And that was
fabulous.
Awesome.
And it sums it up. Those are great reviews because it sums it up so succinctly and like perfectly. It's like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Shout out to my buddy Lonnie Classy Metal, that YouTube channel, because had it not been for him, I probably wouldn't have heard of you guys. Or maybe I would have, but just way down the road, though.
Right on. Appreciate it.
So my favorite songs from the new record are definitely The Last Blade and Carry On. Will any of those make an appearance on tonight's set list?
Yes.
Fucking A.
Yes.
All right. So,
Affirmative.
what are some of the staples on a typical live set list for your shows?
We've been playing Acheron a lot ever since that was released on the second album. Voices of the Cronian Moon. It's one of our favorite songs to play live, and I think it goes over really well, the energy of the song. We always try to have a mix. Like, now that we have 3 albums, we try to mix it up and have songs from each record if we can. Obviously, this tour we're supporting Cults of the Serpent Sun, so it's very heavy on that album as far as the song selection goes.
Okay, but we'll still be getting some classics like Genesis, Lucifer, The Way.
We're gonna mix in some oldies. A couple few.
Not the ones.
Maybe not those specific ones you mentioned. But.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that one of my top favorite songs from you guys are on this album in particular, Voices of the Cronian Moon. Of course, the album title track, Cronian Moon.
Sick.
And, of course, there's also Heliopolis and Last Scorpion.
Yes.
So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed on those, hearing those tonight.
Right, you may be in luck on one of those.
One of these will be there.
All right. So, as for the remainder of your tour, will you guys be playing in any new places that you haven't been to before?
So, yeah.
All the places we're going to play are new to us. We've never been to that side of the U.S., and we've never been to Canada either.
So prior to this, we've done the Hell's Heroes Festival in Houston, Texas twice now. Our friend Christian organizes and books that whole festival. So we've done 2 tours around that, but all in the western half of the U.S. So we literally have not been anywhere east of, Tulsa? Probably is the furthest east we've gotten. So literally all of these shows, every city is the first time we played in these cities. We have 3 shows in Canada coming up, and so those are the first times we'll be in Canada as well. So we're, like I said, we're just excited to be out here and be able to do this.
Awesome. So what are the plans for when this tour concludes?
So we're currently working on the 4th album. It takes a long time for an album to be done, and we are kind of halfway there. We have a bunch of songs, but we're all working a lot, and it's tough. But we would love to do 1 album per year, but we cannot. So it mostly takes us a couple of years, and after we deliver the album, then it usually takes another 7, 8, 9 months for the album to be printed. So we're looking at a long time. So we need to never stop making music, basically, if we want to have a 2-year or 3-year gap between the albums. So that's where we are. Yeah,
we're basically always writing and demoing. When we finished recording sessions for Cult of the Serpent Sun, band already had demos for the next record. So we're never not writing.
Yeah, you can't really write. I mean, for us at least, we can't really say okay, we're gonna go in the studio and we're gonna write an album in the next couple of weeks. That's not how it works. We need to write songs throughout the whole year. That's my personal opinion as a songwriter. In a way that you need to capture yourself in at least different, like 1 year worth of seasons. You think about different things when it's winter, and you think about different things when it's in summertime. And so we write songs throughout quite some time, and then it's pretty fast how we finalize, because we do production ourselves, so we don't really have to do much ourselves. We just have to record final takes, and then we're done. But the songwriting process is what takes the longest.
Well, okay, so fans can look forward to a new album by about 2027 then, roughly.
Depends how many kids we have by then.
Yeah. So hopefully sooner, but definitely by 2027.
All right. So lastly, how can fans purchase your music, and how can they support you as a band?
Oh man! So if you live in any of the cities that we're going on tour to currently, please come out to the shows and buy merch directly from us, because that helps us the most. Season of Mist website, you can purchase all our music, our Bandcamp, and they're available on all streaming services. But yeah, buy physical media, buy LPs, buy a T-shirt. You know, that's the best way to do it.
And get autographs the way I did.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, you're a poser. but
Yeah,
hey,
No pressure.
Something that it might be helpful for people, because we get that question a lot, is that if you're in Europe, there is a European Season of Mist e-shop that you can get all our things except very few items without paying like shipping from the US. If you are in the US or South America, it makes more sense to order from the North American Season of Mist website. So the Bandcamp page and the North American are pretty much the same deal.
Yeah.